Our Parsha starts with a very harsh criticism of Moshe. Hashem rebukes Moshe for his complaints. What's the background? We read in last week's Parsha that Moshe went to Pharaoh asking him to release the Jewish people. The consequences of the request were terrible. Pharaoh said, not only am I not allowing you to go, I'm going to make the work much, much more terrible. Obviously you've got too much free time, and that's why you come up with these crazy ideas, and you need to go back to work. And what Pharaoh then did was he held back the straw, which was part of the vital raw materials needed for creating the bricks. The Jews had to create a certain number of bricks every single day. The straw was now withheld from them and became so much harder to produce the bricks they needed to produce. And the work was terrible, the suffering, the running after the raw materials, running after the straw. The straw was cutting into their feet. It was like swords. It was dry, sharp, pointy straw. Terrible suffering, terrible cries. And they weren't meeting their quotas. They were being whipped left, right and center. Terrible suffering, terrible torture. And their cry pierced the heavens. Their cry pierced, most of all, they pierced the heart of Moshe. And Moshe then went back to Pharaoh. And Moshe then went back to Hashem complaining to him, Hashem, what have you done? And Hashem rebuked him for that. But the question is, isn't the pain that Moshe felt justified? He felt their pain. How could he not cry out? How could he be punished? How could he be criticized for complaining? And the answer is that it wasn't the complaint that was the problem. It was the words that he used. And one of the phrases he used in speaking to Hashem is he said to Hashem, why did you do evil to this people? That was a terrible phrase to say. That was a terrible statement to utter. Why have you done evil to this people? Because to think that Hashem ever does evil to us is to mistake Hashem. It's in fact, it's a way of not addressing Hashem. Hashem, all that Hashem does for us, even the worst types of setbacks and problems and troubles, are always, and all of them, all for our benefit. It's all only good. Whatever Hashem does for us, as harsh as it seems, as terrible as it seems, is all His mercy, it's all His compassion, it's all of His goodness. And that's why we dare not say, how could you do evil to this people? Because to say that to Hashem is to not address Hashem anymore. You're speaking to the wrong force. You're not speaking to Hashem anymore. To say to Hashem, you did evil, Hashem says, who, me? And it comes out you're speaking to someone else. You misunderstand who Hashem is. You confuse Hashem, and you're now speaking to one that is not Hashem anymore. You're not speaking to Hashem anymore by saying, you who have done evil to me. Hashem never does evil. And if we make that mistake, then we're looking in the wrong direction for our help. We're asking for help from the wrong person. You come up to the stranger in the street and you think it's your friend. You say, hello, how are you? And he turns around and you see it's not your friend, it's a stranger. So therefore, to call Hashem the one who does evil is like addressing a stranger by the name of Hashem. And just can't help us. It can only hurt us. It can only hurt us, and that's the hurt that Moshe Rabbeinu had to suffer, the terrible suffering that he had to suffer by saying those words, why have you done evil to this people? Hashem never does evil to any of us in any situation. No matter how bad it seems, it's always for the good. And if we recognize that it's for the good, then we have the keys to our rescue and to our salvation and to the solution to all of our problems.